everybody doing? ES pulling back a little bit here into the close, but it's run all day, so most likely going to bounce. Funny, we were talking about this last week, or it might have been this week actually. When we had this trend line here, let me see if I can extend this without messing it up. These little 4-hour candles here, we talked about this in Discord. Or it might have been daily, actually. Let's see. Yeah, the daily candles. You had these dojis right here, pulling back to retest this trend. It held beautifully, launching off of it on July 1st and 2nd. Pretty low volume, actually, so far in this breakout. But kind of similar to what happened back here. You were holding on to that pullback above that trend, then you pushed higher. This one's a lot stronger, though. Looks really good. I don't see any reason for this to be a fake out besides the gaps. If it does want to come back and fill the gaps, we do have a lot of gaps below us. Got a gap at 430. Got a gap at 428. We've got a gap at... That one's already filled, actually. One down here at 425. Another one at 423. It's like every single 2 points, there's a gap below us, which is not the best. Especially not when you're pushing an all-time high. Typically, when SPY or Qs likes to push an all-time high, it likes to come back and fill its gaps. Big gap on Qs today. Lead us all the way back down to 354 almost. See if SPY can bounce here. It's getting a couple of buy the dip signals on the 5-minute. Same thing with the Qs, pulling back. A couple of 5-minute buy signals. If you guys took those lottos in Discord, they're up almost 300+%, so I would definitely be taking profit on those. You could hold them into the close and get every single penny out of them, but they're already pretty far in the money. Let me see what they're at. Yeah, they're at 435. Those triggered at $1. So you're up 345%, 35%. So I definitely would not be trying to penny pinch on those. They expire today too, so definitely close them. I haven't been keeping track of the Qs lottos, but I can only assume they're up just as much. Which ones did I mention on Qs? Let me take a look. Qs, I said 357 calls above 355. So when did we break 355? That would have been basically on one of these candles on the high. So you would have taken a loss on those in the beginning. They're definitely paying now. So where did they trigger? Let's see. Where was the first candle to break 355? I think it would be this candle here. So right at the close on June 29th or the open on June 30th is where you would have triggered those. Let's take a look. What did I say? June 29th close or the open on June 30th? It would have triggered somewhere around 90 cents to $1, and their high was $1.20. So those are actually a losing trade. They're positive on dollar value, but that's not enough for a lotto to be a winner. it's only positive by about 20 to 30%, depending on when you got filled. Those would actually be a loser. If you would have bought the low, though, when it pulled back, and then it triggered again, they would have definitely paid out. It went from around 20 cents to $1.20, so about 600% increase if you bought the lows. But if you bought the trigger, only about 20 to 30%. So those I'd consider a loser. Anything below 50% on a lotto, I would consider a loser. We took those XPEV lottos yesterday, and that thing just got obliterated. It was up 50% on our position right after we took it, but then it died. So we're going to take a loss on those. I'm also holding these EDU lottos that we took based on the cheddar flow, and they're probably not going to pay. So if it doesn't do anything by Tuesday, I'm going to close these. Airbnb, we took a share position on that. It's slightly down on today. Retail, we're still green on, but a little pullback today. And then Costco, we're making money on that today as well. Nice little gain on Costco. Space tried to have a good day here. If you guys didn't see the space move, gapped up huge. But that was the high of the day. Pretty much gapped up, high of the day, sold off all the way back down to the gap fill. So, nasty reversal on that. I bought this dip on Zim today. We added on the dip pretty much almost the low of the day. I bought around like 40, 50. I bought some more shares here to dollar cost average. And that was, so far, a really good dip. What's going on, JJ? There's honestly not a whole lot to talk about today. That's pretty much it. We had some Q's calls come in, 362 calls come in for July 9th. Let's take a look at those. They came in at 62 to 61 cents. They're currently trading for 65. So a little bit of a gain on those. You had some Google calls come in. They're all small size today, though. If you look at the size, the only thing that was really big was the REGN that came in for next year. This is a leap. February 18th, 700s, 400K. And then we had some TAN come in for about $250,000. 88 calls for July 9th. Let's take a look at those. What did he pay for those? He paid $1.74. They're at $1.90. So he's getting paid a little bit. They're up a little bit. You had some Tesla lottos come in. Those were actually right before I started stream. I'll put those in the channel. Those aren't so much lottos. They're more of just weeklies. 7, 9, 687.50 strike. They paid 1065. How are those doing? What are they? July 9th, 687.50s. They're at 1055, so he's about break even. These are complete lottos here coming in on EWZ. It's a Brazilian ETF. Yeah, 12 Delta. Very interesting. $42 strike for July 9th. They're currently going for 7 to 10 cents, so right about where he bought them. That's pretty much it. We had some K-Web puts come in. $64 puts for July 16th. Let's take a look at that. This is the China Internet ETF. Yeah, it's dying. Which puts did they buy? The 40... Or sorry, 64s. 22 Delta, so not too bad. They are lottos, though. Oh, he's getting paid on these, actually. $64s? Oh, it's just a bad spread. He bought these for 54 cents, then he bought more at 84, so he made a gain on these if he would have sold them. Mainly just a bad spread, though. The bid is 78, the ask is 81, not too bad. What do I think about TME? Let's take a look. TME was another one that was kind of bundled up with that Viacom Discovery telecommunications sell-off due to that massive leverage on that guy. So this was one of those companies. So they're basically still bottomed out. You had TME, you had Viacom, VIAC, you had Discovery, DISCA. You see how they all have the same chart? It's because that guy was over leveraged in the telecommunications sector, so they all got wrecked. But they're trying to recover, but there's just not a whole lot of inflow compared to what that guy was putting into them. You would have to break above the range here, get above the 50-day, probably like $16, $17, then it would look better. But you're just not getting a lot of action on these after that guy got liquidated. If any of you guys bought into that penny stock that we did the promotion on a couple days ago, we did a promoted stream for GSFI. This thing went up 120% today. It came back down, kind of got pump and dumped. But yeah, 120% from yesterday's low. Massive, massive gain. They had a news announcement where they partnered up with another company to help build charging stations for EV. So they originally did they do solar panels. It's a solar company. So now they partnered up with an EV company to do charging stations. And that made them spike pretty heavily. It's crazy. Space is still up 4% when its daily candle looks like that. Pretty brutal.
Italy strikes first.
They scored.
Yep.
So now we need the other team to score and we're set.
Yep. Plenty of time left, Matt. Game just started. 12 minutes in.
That's an easy bet. We're still waiting on Disney to clear the 50-day and close above it, so above like 178. And that looks like a pretty good chart. You could start finally breaking this nasty accumulation. Oh, they took away the goal?
Well, they haven't officially, but I could see it's all. He was offsides. Damn.
Neo, look at Neo holding on to that trend line. If Neo can close like this, you could see a big day on Tuesday.
They took it off. Now it's official offside. Damn.
That sucks. Target has been doing really well. We call this out on stream and in Discord on June 23rd when it was able to break that all-time high and hold above it. And we've just been slow climbing for the past week, but then we finally had that breakout day today. So this looks really good. Keep an eye on Target, keep an eye on Costco, Walmart. All those stores are doing really well. A lot of those like smaller growth names like Fubo, Laser, Snow, these other ones that we have on our watch list, even Roku, not having the best day. Lumen pulled back as well. DoorDash had a pretty good day today, still holding above that pivot about 173. If you're able to break like 187, you'll probably get 200 and then push into 215 pretty quickly. Eli Lilly still looks pretty good. You gapped up on news, pulled back a little bit. You didn't finish the gap fill, and now we're breaking back above 233. So that's pretty strong to just bounce in the middle of nowhere like that. If this thing can hold above the pivot, I'd say like 237, 250 could be pretty easy. REGN, one that we talked about in the summary of markets and the Discord, we were talking about how you had this beautiful uptrend breaking away from this downtrend here. And we talked about it way back here, and you were looking for the top of that channel, tried to pull back off that channel, but then we held on to the 21, the blue moving average here, 21 EMA, and then we broke the top of the channel, and now look at that thing go. The breakout target was 578, so that has been hit. If it can hold above that, then you're looking for like 580 to 600. Or sorry, 590 to 600. Yeah, given the gap of today was on low volume. That's what I was actually talking about earlier. Was you're having a really strong breakout day today, but there's not a whole lot of volume. That could be from two things. It could be because the buyers are just actually not really there. They're kind of weak. Or it could just be because the sellers are not fighting at all. Because in order for there to be like really high volume, you have to have sellers and buyers, like they're both fighting, right? They're trying to push it in both directions. If you don't have a whole lot of people taking profit on their longs and trying to short simultaneously, or like other people are shorting simultaneously, that's where you get a lot of volume from, right? Is not just the people taking profit on their longs, but people also shorting. Same with vice versa. But today you don't really have that much volume. It's just slowly grinding up. Not a whole lot of fight. But yeah, I definitely think with all those gaps below us, we have a likelihood of pulling back next week. But I think the pullbacks are going to be bought pretty quickly, you'd assume, because the quarterly close was just so strong. Like if we look at a 3-month chart here, look at the quarterly close. It's really, really strong. Not even a bottom wick on it. We have not had a red quarter since the COVID sell-off. Every single quarter has been green. We've had 5 quarterly closes since COVID, and they've all been very, very strong green candles. We had about a 20% gain, then a 9%, and then a 12, and then a 6, and then an 8. Been pretty damn good. How does the bot look on the quarterly chart? Let's see. It's been long since January 2011. It took profit in the 15 crash, the 19 crash, and then the COVID crash. There's only been 2 sell signals in the history of SPY. One during 9/11, it looks like, the pre 9/11 sell off, and then the '08 crisis. What about ES? So ES is a little newer, so it only had the '08 crisis. That's it.
I sold vertical SPX calls for next week in case we have a pullback.
Godspeed.
I only do it on SPX because I can't get it signed. those contracts settle.
Yeah, that can't
And
take all your
so,
money though.
yeah, but this is the thing, the risk to reward. Let me give you an example. I sold a 245, 4240, 4245 vertical on SPX. I collected $4.70. So that means that I only had to put up 30 cents of out of my money as collateral because I collected 470.
Hmm.
If we drop next week, that could go from 470 to $4 or $3, and then I can close it. And my risk was only 30 cents. And because it's SPX, I don't have a risk of being assigned early or anything like that. These settle on the expiration date, never before. So it's the kind of stuff I do like a week out or a couple days out just to see.
Going on, Poncho. No problem, Poncho. That's a really scary chart. What do you mean, the quarterly chart, Ryan? Thoughts on ServiceNow and QCOM? What's ServiceNow's ticker? I'm better with tickers than I am with names. QCOM looks decent. You're holding above the pivot at 139.72. As long as you hold that, most likely will continue. You also have that pattern that we kind of look for, that downtrend accumulation, and now we're breaking out of the accumulation. So as long as you maintain that kind of trend from the lows, this should be a nice little bullish uptrend. You are coming into a little bit of resistance on these highs up here. But it looks pretty bullish overall. You're kind of in the middle of nowhere though, right? Like you don't really want to buy here. You can either buy a pullback to the trend, pullback to the pivot. You could breakout trade it, but then you're breakout trading at very, very close to resistance. But overall, I like the trend structure. Downtrend has been accumulated and it has been shifted. That's good. Thoughts on Nike and DocuSign? Let's take a look. Nike looks really good. That massive gap up on earnings is huge.
It's a beast.
Disgusting move on earnings. And we talked about this, I believe, on the weekly chart a few weeks ago. But I don't play earnings, so I missed this. But this weekly chart is very, very clean. You have that beautiful bull flag back to the pivot and the 50 moving average. And look at how many buy signals it gave you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It gave you 9 buy signals on this pullback. And you never broke the pivot or the 50-week moving average. So those were all the signs that could have given you an idea of, like, if they did have good earnings, you have a lot of support below you, so you can pop off of it. Obviously, earnings is just a gamble, so it's really hard to predict that. But if there wasn't earnings here, that would be a really good chart to buy. In hindsight, obviously. But even on the daily, we had all these bounces off this pivot. Like, look at these bounces here. So there's clearly support there. And that pivot is like one of those pivots where it looks like it's in the middle of nowhere, but then look at how it reacts to price, or how price reacts to the pivot. It's beautiful. So once again, even if there wasn't earnings there, we can tell there's support below us. So we should go higher. Earnings just made it happen a lot faster. Now looking at it now, if you didn't get in before the breakout on earnings, you're getting in pretty high because this thing could pull back pretty hard if it wanted to fill that gap. Now I don't know about Nike on the gap fill theory. I don't know if it likes to fill every single one of its gaps. It looks like it does, for the most part, fill its gaps. It does gap a lot, though, so there are probably some gaps left open. So it's not like Netflix where every single gap is filled. But I would say, if we look at this on like a shorter time frame, these pivots are kind of the areas in which you want to pay attention to. So we have like a level around 159. We have a level around 157, 156, 154.75, and then 152. So these are all the main levels. So if you're looking to buy pullbacks, those are basically the levels you want to be buying. And if it loses this level, most likely go to the next one, and then so on and so forth. Lose that one, go to the next one. Lose that one, go to the next one. And if it holds this level, then it's just going to go higher. So definitely short-term, very bullish. Long-term, very bullish. Just a little scary if you were not in that before the gap fill. Or the gap, I mean. Service now. This doesn't look too bad. You just filled a gap, though. So you had a gap around 557. And that has been filled. So this little area right here, you filled that in. That's good. Now, the question is, was this just a gap fill, or is this actually bullish? If it was just a gap fill, it's going to top here, and you're going to pull back pretty hard. But if this is actually bullish, then you should not pull back very hard. Maybe pull back a little bit, and then you break out of that 557 level. So if you start breaking out of that 557 level, then I would start paying attention. DocuSign, let me take a look. Why is that so loud? What's coming in? What do we miss? What time is it? 3:27. Wells Fargo just came in. $44 calls for July 9th. And then Chewy, 81.50 calls for July 9th. DocuSign. Let's see. Very nice break of this little wedge here. We had a little distribution, turned into a falling wedge. We broke out of that. So that was a very nice move there. Now looking at what it's doing now, a little toppy. Because if we take these wicks here, we can see there's a lot of sell pressure up here. You have the wick there and the wick here. So you can kind of see that this is resistance. And now we're running into it again. So until we fully clear this level, this all-time high, it's going to be probably a little choppy. The daily can also show you this. Nasty sell-off, not able to break into that wick. So pretty ugly. You are holding the low of this, though, and that's not too bad. If you can SR flip kind of this little high here. So probably somewhere around there.
Those Q's lottos are up 20%, by the way.
Nice. If you can SR flip this, you should be able to go higher. If you got below that, which is almost a 21 EMA as well, that's where I would be a little worried that you're going back to these lower pivots. Probably around like 234. But right here, there's no direction. If I had to pick a direction, I would even lean slightly bearish here because this resistance is very strong. You can put like an alert up here, like if you wanted to do an alert for like a breakout, that wouldn't be too bad. Did I go over service now? I already forgot. Yeah, we went over this. Which Q's lottos were you talking about? The ones that came in on cheddar?
Yeah, the 362s.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, those were cheap, 62 cents.
The 177.
Nice. Yeah, those little buy the dip signals we talked about right at the start of the stream, those are playing out. These little buy the dips here, playing out on Qs, playing out on SPY as well. IWM trying really hard to bottom, but it's just not bouncing yet. This little SR flip on this pivot is beautiful, though. If you can hold above that pivot, it looks pretty good. Going on, Pop? Costco pulling back a little bit. How's Bitcoin doing? I haven't looked at Bitcoin in the past few days. Still not liking that that range. Not able to gain any momentum on that range. You're still trying to flip this pivot here, which is okay. You need to start clearing this 50 moving average, though, 21 and 50. If it gets above like 38, that's when you're really talking. Looking very weak, though. If you lose that pivot, it's going to go back down to like 30,000, 28. If it loses the weekly 50, we have not lost that level since like February 2020, which is basically the COVID nuke. Bitcoin has not lost that level since the COVID nuke.
Now we have the first goal.
Nice.
There's a guy down literally on the floor that nobody saw or ignored.
Yeah, he shot it right over him.
Look at
Beautiful goal.
Amazon. Amazon doing really well. Break above 3476, break above 3500. Make sure you guys watch those Amazon levels. I posted an analysis. They're going to be the same levels for next week as well. Tesla, not liking that daily pivot. You need to clear 690 or it's not going to be able to break. Facebook, this little candle's pretty nice. Dojis like this that are typically closed right above the pivot or right on the pivot are typically very bullish. So if this can hold above this pivot on Tuesday and Wednesday, this could go for a nice little run.
Those Q's lottos, they're 79 cents now. I mean, there's 3 days of theta burn that's about to happen. Like,
Yeah, I probably wouldn't hold them into the weekend.
right.
No, if I ever take anything on Friday and it pays me immediately, you just close it. Apple looks really good. It's ramping off this trend. You can see this little bullish fork that we're making. Like, look at the new trend and the old trend. We're ramping off of the old trend. Very nice. Microsoft just going straight up. There's nothing stopping it. Look at how strong Microsoft has been since the COVID low. You've had almost no closes below the 21. You can consider like this, but then it instantly gets bought up. CRM, let's take a look. CRM is actually breaking out of that micro pullback I told you guys about. So we broke this little downtrend way back here. And then we had a couple of candles on the weekly and the daily that kind of gave us this distribution. So on the weekly, this would be considered a micro pullback. On the daily, it would just be considered a distribution. But now we're breaking out of it. So that's a really clean move right there. Let me grab my highlighter. This candle here would be a really nice breakout. If it can close like this and then not quickly fall back below like 246, this will most likely go much higher. First level would be like 253 and then probably somewhere around 263. And then you have that pivot around 271. DLTR, let's see now. Let's see, Dollar Tree. That's pretty weak. Just bear flagging. Putting in a nice little range. Let's actually do this here. Just putting in this little range here. You could either try to scalp it, like, well, not scalp, but small swing trades, not too long. You're looking for a buy the dip on the lows of the range, sell the highs. Anything in between is mainly for day trading. But it's pretty weak. You can't reclaim the 21. Putting in lower highs, gap down. Momentum's low. Buy volume is low. If it loses the pivot, most likely going to go down to at least like 96. You lose 96, it's pretty much dead. Got a little bit of support here. A little bit of support here. That's about it. I'm trying to avoid these charts. These charts have not been doing well this year. Stuff that has been downtrending like this, until they reclaim the 50, they have not been doing anything.
100 Amazon.
I really enjoy the way you do analysis. You've always used the daily chart time frame for your analysis, and then do you do lower time frames? Yeah, so I do. The daily typically is that's my first option. And then I'll go to the weekly sometimes if it's a longer term trade. And then if I'm looking for like exact entries or like I need some levels, I'll go to the lower time frames. But daily is just the standard. It's like the golden standard. What's going on, Frank? Yeah, Dom, that's kind of what I'm thinking about. That's why I took that premium trade on IWM. I think Q's and SPY are doing really, really well right now, but it's a lot of companies are not doing well. Like it's not, they're not pumping because the whole stock market is pumping. They're pumping mainly because big tech is just going straight up. So if we see any kind of pullback on big tech, you should see a small rotation into like smaller companies, like IWM companies, the Russell companies. So if that happens, that will give IWM a chance to catch up. And then Dow Jones as well. Dow Jones also, we talked about this morning. Look at Dow Jones since I mentioned it. It's basically gone straight up. So Dow Jones is starting to slowly follow. IWM is just lagging behind. But yeah, I did see that the yields in the bonds are going down. The 10 years down 2.5, 20 years down 1. If the 10-year loses this like 1.4 level, then yeah, it could get pretty bloody for the yield. BBY, Best Buy, let's take a look. This thing has just been going sideways for so long. Like, how long is this? Almost a year. It's been going sideways. It looks like a double top to me, but it is bouncing off of some nice little support here, the 50-week moving average. But until this range has been lost or gained, there's no reason to trade against it, right? So if we took this range here, we would take something kind of like this. And then we have the sell zone, the buy zone. Anything in between is for shorter term trades. These would be like little swings on the daily. And then if we claim one of these levels, so like if we claim one of these as like resistance, that goes lower. If we claim this as support, that could go higher. But until that happens, you're just going to get chopped out, right? So you could go for a small trade like from 111 to like 120, 122. But it's gonna probably chop you out. One thing I will say, I do like the little bounce here off the 50 week. That is pretty clean. You do have a lot of resistance up here, though. You can't even look at it on daily. It's too choppy on a daily. You would have to do like weekly or monthly analysis here, and the monthly's even worse. Like, look at how choppy that is. Tons of sell pressure. Now, I will say, because there is so much sell pressure up here, that when it does finally hold this level as support, it should rocket for a while. Like, you should see a nice bull run on Best Buy. You probably get to like 150 pretty easily. Because it has been consolidating for like a year. So. SPY is disgusting today. Just going straight up. Is Monday a holiday? Yes, it is. So because the 4th of July is not on a weekday, Monday is the observed day.
The weekly on Apple looks like it wants all-time highs again.
Yeah, Apple's disgusting. This week and next week historically are some of the best weeks of the year. That's why we're also seeing this very strong
Yeah, I remember
growth.
last year. Last year in summertime was pretty good.
Well, June was really bad, and then
June is almost always bad. Yeah, June's bad. And then the last week of June, around 4th of July, the last week of June going into the 4th of July are some of the best weeks of the year.
the Russell rebalanced.
From June 28th to basically the second week of July are very, very strong.
Wow, Italy! Oh my God,
Hey, watch it though.
seems good.
They're going up 2-0 at halftime. I've seen this movie about 100 million times already.
Oh, yeah, you said it's the worst lead in soccer, right?
Yeah, who has the worst record ever. Teams that go up 2-0, it's like it has the worst record. A lot of times they end up losing, or at the very least letting it get tied.
So, guys, for the next 4 months, historically, the end of the month is very bad. The end of July, the end of August, the end of September, and the end of October are typically very bad. October is an exception. The last, 5 days of October start to get green again. And then November is historically green almost the entire month. November is one of the best months of the year. And then December as well is typically pretty good. But the last 2 weeks of 2 weeks, the last 10 days of July are bad. The last 10 days of August are bad. The last 10 days of September are very bad. One of the worst 10 days of the year. And then the
quad witch again.
yeah, pretty much. And then like from October 18th,
Here comes your bet. Penalty kick for Belgium.
October 18th to October 27th is very bad. But then October 28th into November is very, very green.
I think it's more of a dive.
Yeah, that was weak.
Well, he did kind of push him a little bit, but he exaggerated. But he did kind of push him.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, let's be real. He over exaggerated, but I think there is
There's
possibility.
definitely contact.
Yeah, there was contact and there was a little push, not enough to cause him to fall like that, but he's gonna go to the camera.
Long story short, guys, is the end of the next 2 to 3 months. Watch out, except for October. You're safe in October.
They're not gonna make a call and they're gonna tell him to go look at the screen.
And then if you want to be aggressive, you're aggressive in November. November historically is you could say it's the best month of the year.
Oh, the VAR people called it. They didn't even have to make him look at it. I thought that was gonna be close, but yeah, I guess it doesn't matter how much you push them. The fact that there was contact. Come on, score. Let's get this bet over with. We're about to win. I'll shut up.
Yeah, don't jinx it.
Did you just fucking give it away?
Did you see Smoochie?
Let's go. I have Lukaku also.
Yeah, we won
They-
that bet. Yeah,
Easy. So now we
Well,
just
no,
need
England
England.
still has to win.
Yeah, we just need England to win the fucking easiest game. They're gonna throw the easy bet.
I still find it hilarious, man, that the guy who doesn't bet gave us a very good bet. Cause seriously, dude, I bet every single one of these games, and I've taken those bets before, but for this game, I didn't. But I mean, the bet makes perfect sense because these are two high scoring teams, and it's hard to pick a winner between these two teams. So why not just take the one that they both score? It's so easy in hindsight, but I just think it's funny that you thought of it and not me.
Yeah, I was testing out picking both of them, but it doesn't give you a good parlay. Like if you pick their money lines, the parlay wasn't good. SPY 5-minute looks really good. Q's 5-minute really good. IWM still struggling. Dow Jones looks like it wants to go higher. Does that seasonality work in crypto as well? I don't know the seasonality in crypto as much. The thing with crypto is they don't have as much data. The stock market's been around for a long time. That data I'm mentioning to you guys, that dates back to 1950. So what is that? 70 years? $70 worth of data was what I was just telling you guys. If you had to pick a worst month of the year, it's probably September. And then mediocre, as we saw this year.
March is pretty bad.
Yeah, mediocre is February, March. Typically not very good. Because you have a lot of people who hold on to their stuff. They don't sell the end of the year because they don't want to pay taxes. And then they start selling in January, February, March. And you have that first quarter where they unload.
Do you remember May of last year?
You mean COVID?
Yeah,
Yeah, we just went straight up.
right after May, man.
Well, that's because of the Fed, though. They were just fucking buying everything.
everything was just shooting up that month.
They were propping everything up. The two best months of the year are November and April, pretty much. Fortune, I could post it in Discord. I have a picture on my phone that I look at.
Think Apple continues to run next week?
I'm thinking like if things want to pull back, we're gonna know very early next week. Like I think Tuesday, Wednesday might be bloody if we're gonna see a red week, and if not, then we're probably just gonna get continuation throughout the whole week. If you guys are in Discord, I just posted it in the channel.
Yeah, I mean that's the quad witch and the leading up to the Russell rebalancing every year.
Yep.
Always chop.
I can pull this up on stream, but it's probably gonna be small. Yeah, it's tiny. Let me try it this way. You guys can take a screenshot of this. It might not be
Oh my God,
too
that
good.
dude balls that dude's dreads.
Here you guys go on stream if you want to take a screenshot. Can I zoom in on this? I don't think I can. But yeah, like you see here, where's my cursor? This right here is really bad. This is like the last 2 weeks of September. And then you have the worst day of the year, which is October 19th. Worst day of the year. And then the best months of the year are April. You can see it's green almost the entire month. A little bit towards the end is red, which is almost every single month. And then November is typically very green. And then you can see what I said. So like people don't like selling towards the end of the year. You see how these are not very red? There's almost no selling here. They don't like to sell here because they have to pay taxes. But then as soon as the new year comes around, towards like the middle of the month of January, selling, and then selling, and then you have selling here as well. It's all just averages though. That's not it's not what's going to happen every single year. It's not going to be the same. It's just an average. But it's 70 years worth of data. So they got a lot of data. Pretty strong. Google's ripping. Google had some calls earlier today come in on Cheddar Flow. Let me see if I can find them. Yeah, right here. 2505 calls for July 2nd. Those are probably getting paid. Yeah, this is actually crazy how IWM is still not following. IWM is not heavily weighted in the big tech companies. So this kind of shows you what's going on with like the lower to mid cap companies. We're not actually getting an across the board pump today. It's mainly just these like big tech companies. But because SPY and Qs are so heavily weighted in these FANG companies, when they do this, SPY and Qs will go up. It doesn't matter if a shit ton of other companies are going down. Another way to look at the tech companies is It's the Russell 200. This has very heavily weighted in the tech companies as well. Thoughts on plug? Let me take a look. Pulling back to retest that trend. So as long as it holds here, it's okay. If you lose this trend, most likely go back down to like 28. If it holds here, look for a break at 35. And that would be pretty nice. Micron pulled back on earnings. So this little run up here, we talked about this on stream. I was telling you guys how these are a little scary because when it runs this hard into earnings, if earnings is even, earnings can be good and it will still go down because they already priced in the earnings move. So you don't want to see like these massive run-ups into earnings because that's very scary. So earnings came out. I don't know if it was good or bad. I'm assuming bad. But then it pulled back to support. So right now it's okay. It's holding these pivots. But as long as you can hold on to like 78, it's okay. You really got to hold above 82 though, the 50-day moving average. Little pullback on SPY last couple minutes of the market and of the week. Remember, guys, Monday is a holiday, so if you guys are holding options, you've got an extra day of theta burn. Got 1.5 minutes left. See how it closes. A little nasty sell-off so far. How are the tech companies doing? I used to have a FANG thing. Where's my FANG? Here it is, FANG. FANG is strong, man. Very, very strong. You guys are unfamiliar. The FANG is Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. Basically the tech index. Bell's about to ring. There's the bell. Alright guys, I gotta get going. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend, enjoy your holiday if you're an American. If you're not American, it's just a normal day for you guys. But I will be releasing the summary markets on Sunday. Actually, no, I will not. I just remembered I'm going to be at the lake. Summary markets will be Monday. So 1 day late. So watch out on my YouTube Monday. I'm not sure what time because I'm going to be coming back from the lake. But just be on the lookout. I think I'll be able to have it out normal time. So probably about 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern. That will be our weekly watch list if you guys are new here. I do a weekly watch list every Sunday. We go over the main markets across the world, gold, oil, Bitcoin, Ethereum, SPY. And then I go into our options watch list. I go into our stocks watch list. So make sure if you guys are new, hit that subscribe button. That will be coming out on Monday this week. And then Tuesday, we'll come back for the stream, 3 p.m. Eastern. All right, guys, you guys have a good one. Enjoy your weekend.